Do you want to know how to find fragrances for half price, sometimes even a quarter of the price of retail? Do you want to know how I amassed a fragrance collection in the triple digits without going into serious debt? You do? Okay, great, because that's what this video is about. As a fragrance collector, I quickly realized that I picked a pretty expensive hobby. Retail prices on a lot of designer fragrances are approaching or over the $100 mark. And if you like a variety in your fragrances enough, that financial burden can really pile up quick. But even if you're someone that's comfortable with having lots and lots of fragrances because you enjoy them, there are ways that you can save quite a bit of money on these fragrances. So right off the bat, going into a department store will be the most expensive option. Yes, you'll get the peace of mind knowing you're at a large store with a ton of employees, but because of all those employees and because of the overhead of that building that it's in, those extra costs get transferred onto you. By buying a Chanel fragrance at a Chanel counter with a Chanel employee, you're kind of the one paying that employee. Which sounds very nice, right? Very Canadian, helping out a fellow person, but some of us are more concerned about saving our money. And if you're the type of person that already kind of knows what you want in a cologne, then you can go ahead and skip the sales associates at your department stores and venture in other avenues. Well, you may be able to find some cheap fragrances at drugstores or one of those discount clothing stores like Marshall's or TJ Maxx. Even those aren't my biggest recommendation for cheap fragrances. You may be thinking, well, okay, there's the gray market websites. Fragrancebuy.ca is a fantastic resource. I bought a lot of fragrances on that website. Service is amazing, prices are great, selection is pretty much unparalleled. But the number one place that I bought a majority of my fragrances isn't a brick and mortar store or even a gray market fragrance website. If I had to estimate, I would say more than half of my fragrances came from Facebook. Now, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, no, I'm not saying I saw fragrance ads on Facebook and then clicked on the site and went somewhere. No, I bought a lot of my fragrances on Facebook in fragrance groups. There are a lot of fragrance groups on Facebook. And these are people that are not only part of the fragrance community, but there are people that are selling or even swapping fragrances. And while a lot of people on Facebook will be selling brand new sealed fragrances, I tend to go for the used fragrances. And I'll tell you why. You'll often get a significant discount in price when you're buying a used or open or partial bottle of fragrance. If I went into a store and bought a bottle of Dior Sauvage, for example, I might spend about $90 plus tax. Or I can go on Facebook, I can find one for maybe $70 that only has a few sprays missing. You can even get more aggressive and get maybe a half full bottle for $30 or $40. Discounts are staggering. And like I mentioned before, if you don't want to spend any actual money, you can swap fragrances, you can trade them. Now you may be wondering, how do you trade fragrances on Facebook? And maybe not everyone is going to be local, and they're not. Facebook is clearly an international community. And although there are certain geographically based groups, like the Great Canadian Fragrance Exchange, the big ones like Fragrance Swap or even the Redolessence Facebook group consist of people all over North America and in some cases the world. Now this sounds all fine and dandy. Cheap fragrances. What's the catch? The catch is you're buying from a person. So there is a bit of an honor system that's in place with a lot of these groups. You don't always have the security blanket of buying from a store that you could maybe return a fragrance at or get some extra customer service. The way these fragrance groups operate is usually a seller will advertise a fragrance for a price, you send that person a message, pay them electronically, and then they'll ship it to you. And although it seems a bit scary, throwing some money at someone and then hope that they actually send you what they're supposed to send you, these groups have a lot of reputable sellers that have done countless numbers of transactions. So all you do if you're unsure about someone is just simply ask the group you're in, can I get a legit check for this person? I'm gonna buy from them and I wanna make sure they're not gonna scam me. And 9 times out of 10, you'll get an overwhelming number of people saying, oh yeah, I worked with this person, they were great, excellent service, and then you move on. That being said, there is always a risk that you could get scammed. And the things to watch out for are new people in the groups, or Facebook profiles that haven't existed a whole lot of time, or people that just can't get anyone else to vouch for them. I would steer clear of those people. And even if someone does get people to vouch for them, there's still a chance they just won't send you the fragrance. Now, I have been scammed myself one time, but I've had over 100 transactions that were totally fine. So I'll take that $60 hit considering all the money that I saved over the years. So remember, always do your research, make sure you work with the right people, and that goes for the other side as well. If you end up deciding to sell things, make sure you conduct yourself professionally, because the Facebook fragrance group community is really great, and just a few bad apples can really ruin it for everybody. So if you're part of the 1% and you don't mind spending a lot of money, sure, go and buy your fragrances at big department stores. For a large amount of you, I would urge you guys to go to websites like fragrancebuy.ca. You have a very reputable company selling you high quality fragrances. But for the rest of you, I really urge you to investigate Facebook fragrance groups. It's how I got a lot of good fragrances for very low costs. And I also got a chance to meet a lot of people, which is always fun. If you want to know any more fragrance tips, you can check out this video right here. Kind of my opinion, but a lot of people share this opinion. Facebook fragrance groups, really great. Check them out.